Hey everybody, welcome to Fun Facts. If you are seeking information, you are at the right place. Today, we're going to go over the most amazing top 10 facts about Peter Lawford. Make sure to watch until number 1, because it's one of the most amazing facts you will ever see. Number 10, Peter Sydney Ernest Lawford, born Peter Sydney Ernest Allen, September 7, 1923 to December 24, 1984. Was an English-born American actor, producer, and socialite who spent his entire adult life in the United States. He was born in London, England, but spent most of his adult life in the United States. Number 9, he was a member of the Rat Pack and the brother-in-law of President John F. Kennedy, as well as Senators Robert F. Kennedy and Edward Kennedy, among other prominent figures. He was a well-known figure between the 1940s to the 1960s, and he appeared in a number of critically praised films during that time period. Over time, he became more well-known for his celebrity activities off of the screen, leading some to refer to him as famous for being famous instead of famous for acting. Number 8, his parents were Lieutenant General Sir Sidney Turing Barlow Lawford, KBE, 1865 to 1953. And May Somerville Bunny, 1883 to 1972, and he was their only child. Number 8, born in London in 1923, and he was their only child. In Peter's case, however, his mother was married to Lieutenant Colonel Dr. Ernest von Allen D.S.O., a member of Sir Sidney's staff, at the time of his birth. And his father was married to Muriel Williams at the time of the birth. May and Ernest Allen were living apart at the time of the incident. May revealed to Allen that the child was not hers, which resulted in a double divorce as a result of the revelation. In September 1924, when their divorces had been finalized and their son had turned 1 year old, Sidney and May tied the knot. Lawford's family had ties to the English aristocracy through his uncle Ernest Lawford's wife, who was the daughter of the Scottish 14th Earl of Eglinton, and his aunt Ethel Turner Lawford, who was the daughter of the Scottish 14th Earl of Eglinton, who married a son of the 1st Baron Avebury. Number 7, he spent his early youth in France and, as a result of his family's travels, he never received a formal education in his home country. Instead, he was educated by governesses and tutors, and he received tennis and ballet lessons as part of his formal education. As his mother pointed out, he didn't have any schoolwork at the beginning. When he became older, he was able to add Spanish, German, and music to his list of interests. He only read a few books, English fairy tales, English and French classics, and none of the crime novels that were available. After spending so much time with Peter, I came to the conclusion that he was unsuited for any profession other than the arts. As a result, I dropped Latin, algebra, and high mathematics and substituted dramatics. Because his professors came from such a diverse range of national and religious backgrounds, Lawford attended numerous services in churches, cathedrals, synagogues, and for a period was an usher in a Christian Science Sunday school. He made his acting debut in the English film Poor Old Bill when he was 7 years old, about 1930. He also appeared in the film A Gentleman of Paris, however his role was uncredited, 1931. Number 6, he married Patricia Kennedy, a socialite and younger sister of John F. Kennedy, who was then a Democratic senator from Massachusetts. In 1954, his first marriage, a son, actor and novelist Christopher Lawford, 1955 to 2018, and 3 daughters, Sydney Malliae Lawford, B. 1956, Victoria Frances Lawford, B. 1958, and Robin Elizabeth Lawford, B. 1960, were born to them. B. 1961. On April 23, 1960, Lawford was naturalized as a citizen of the United States. He had planned for this in advance of the forthcoming presidential election, which he would support his brother-in-law in. Lawford, along with the other members of the Rat Pack, contributed to the campaign for President John F. Kennedy and the Democratic Party in 1960. During this period, Sinatra famously referred to him as brother-in Lawford. Marriage ended in divorce for Lawford and Patricia Kennedy in February of 1966, although Lawford was originally cast as Alan A. Dale in the film Robin and the Seven Hoods. Bing Crosby replaced him after a rupture in Frank Sinatra's connection with the actor caused a rift in their working relationship. A scheduled visit to Sinatra's home by President John F. Kennedy, Lawford's brother-in-law, occurred during a 1962 West Coast tour, prompting the interruption. After years of being concerned about Sinatra's alleged ties to organized crime, Attorney General Robert F. Number 5. In 1938, while traveling through Hollywood, Lawford was seen by a talent scout who signed him up for a role. He underwent screen testing before making his Hollywood debut in a supporting role in the film Lord Jeff, which starred Freddie Bartholomew. The Lawfords were living in Florida when World War II broke out in Europe. They discovered that they had become stranded after only a few days of travel. Their money was in the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom was at war. Their assets were seized and blocked. Peter, who was 16 at the time, accepted a job parking automobiles. As soon as he had saved up enough money for the plane ticket, he returned to Hollywood, where he supported himself by working as a theater usher, until he began to acquire film employment. Number 4. With the outbreak of World War II came a boom in British war stories, and Lawford found himself in high demand as military people, although in uncredited roles. Mr. Miniver, 1942, and Eagle Squadron, 1942, both of which he appeared in as a pilot, were two films in which he could be seen. In A Yank at Eton, 1942, in which Mickey Rooney co-starred, Lawford had his first respectable role in a major film production. In the picture, Lawford played a pretentious bully. 20. It was extremely successful at the box office. Lawford appeared as a cadet in Thunderbirds, Soldiers of the Air, 1942, and Junior Army, 1942, both starring Bartholomew. As a soldier in Random Harvest, 1942, Immortal Sergeant, 1942, and The London Blackout Murders, 1943, all directed by George Sherman, and as a navigator in Assignment in Brittany, 1943, also directed by George Sherman, 1943. Number 3. The signing of a long-term contract with MGM in June 1943 was a significant step forward in Lawford's professional development. A special role in The White Cliffs of Dover, 1944, in which he played a teenage soldier during the Second World War, drew him to the studio's attention when they signed him. Lawford appeared in two films in the 1940s, The Canterville Ghost, 1944, and Mrs. Parkington, 1944, in which he played a suitor to Greer Garson. Another significant role was given to him by MGM in The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1945. Chris Law Productions, which was named after Peter Lawford's son Christopher, was established in 1961 by Lawford and his manager Milt Evans. It signed a 3-year deal with United Artists for $10 million to produce 3 feature films and 2 television programs. Executive producer William Asher was to be in charge of the project. Their first project was a recreation of the historic silent picture The Great Train Robbery, which they were quite excited about. That film was never created, but they did make the 1963 action film Johnny Cool, which starred Henry Silva and Elizabeth Montgomery, and was released in theaters. Number 2. Lawford's first main role was in the critically acclaimed Son of Lassie, 1945, which was a critical and commercial success. Lawford was cast in the Katherine Grayson June Allison musical Two Sisters from Boston, 1946, which was a critical and commercial success. Clooney Brown, 1946, directed by Ernst Lubitsch, featured him as the third leading man, behind Charles Boyer and Jennifer Jones. His popularity was determined by a Modern Screen magazine readers' survey, and he was voted the most popular actor in Hollywood in 1946. The number of letters he received from fans increased to thousands per week, with stars such as Clark Gable and James Stewart absent from the MGM set due to the war. Lawford was hailed as the studio's new romantic lead. With Jackie Butch Jenkins, Lawford co-starred in the flop My Brother Talks to Horses, 1947, an early production by Fred Zinman that was a critical and commercial failure. It Happened in Brooklyn, 1947, in which he reunited with Grayson, was likewise a success and starred Frank Sinatra. Number 1. Lawford died on Christmas Eve 1984, at the age of 61, at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, as a result of heart arrest. He had suffered from renal and liver disease as a result of his years of drug and alcohol usage. His body was cremated, and his ashes were placed at Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Westwood, California. As a result of a legal disagreement between his widow and the cemetery, Lawford's ashes were stolen from the cemetery and thrown into the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California by his widow Patricia Seton Lawford, who asked the tabloid National Enquirer to film the incident. Peter Lawford has been honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which can be found at 6920 Hollywood Boulevard. In recognition of his contributions to the television business, Lawford's name has been inscribed on a plaque in Westwood Village Memorial Park in his honor. Subscribe and turn on notifications to get informed so you don't miss more videos of the most amazing top 10 facts and much more. Check out this playlist for other amazing top 10 facts. And remember guys, knowledge is power. With AP. Peace.